Look, what Vince doesn't see in Cesaro, the fans of AEW love, and the hardcore wrestling fans love, because he's one of the best professional wrestlers I've ever seen.
What's going on, everybody? It's Dr. Chris Featherstone here for yet another episode of the Wrestling Out the Wrestling.
Did you forget the name?
No. the Wrestling Outlaws.
Bow, 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 bow. Oh, you didn't know? Pew, 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 pew. That's what we usually do, right?
No. I've retired the Pelican.
Oh, no. Well, I'm bringing them back, dog. I'm like Justin Timberlake. I'm bringing it back.
The Pelicans are over. Only took 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's all.
All right, let's, speaking of Pelicans, let's shoot from the hip, fellas. Cesaro is in AEW. He debuted on the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. I think all roads basically led to Cesaro when Bryan Danielson was saying that he's got a replacement. There were some other names thrown out there. There was Gargano. There was Bray Wyatt, even people were talking about. But I think, as far as someone who fits the Blackpool Combat Club mode, type of, frame, I think it was Cesaro as far as hardcore / technical type deal. So do you think, Vince, that Cesaro make a dent in AEW? We'll start there.
Bro, no. And it has nothing to do with Cesaro or star power or anything else like this. Brian, here's a little statistic. And Chris, I don't even know if you know this. This is an actual statistic, Brian. And Brian will appreciate this because he was the head writer at SmackDown. And Brian, there's a human element to us of you want to get everybody on the show.
Oh, yeah.
There's that human element. Bro, at TNA, when I was the head writer, if you weren't on the show, you didn't get paid. Yeah. So, bro, I'm constantly having guys coming to me. I got to pay my rent this week, this and that, and I'm doing everything to get as many people as I can on the show. Here's the statistic, Chris. At WCW's height, they had 150 talents under contract. Oh. AEW now has over 170.
No.
So that's the problem. Bro, they've gotten in this routine of who's the next guy, who's the next guy, who's the next guy, before the last guy, Brian, even gets a chance to get over. I mean, Andrade came in, Keith Lee came in. Bro, Brian knows this better than anybody. Yeah. It's impossible, Brian, to get them all over. Somebody's going to get lost in the shuffle.
Well, and look, they do a good job of focusing on putting different talent on TV every week. I think that's detrimental, to be quite honest with you. You have to have somebody on TV every week in a positive light.
I don't mean to interrupt you,
no,
but my number one rule, Brian, is if you want to get somebody over, they need to be represented on TV every single week. Yes, yeah. Go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. Look, it's just like Bret Hart's comeback, right? We all can kind of mimic it in our brain. It's the same. You know how we know that? Because he did it every week and it got established. That's what we have to do here too. You have to put an individual on television in a positive light for an extended period of time. You know what I mean? Like the Attitude Era ain't coming back, and it was a societal switch. That all happened at the same time. And so, man, the people are going to have to be on TV, and they're going to have to be on TV often. And about 70 to 90 of those talent could be unemployed right now, and you still would have people sitting and catering.
But also, too, Brian, you had to learn how to become a television writer. And I'm sure, bro, you learned the trick. Bro, they don't have to be on TV every week in a match.
Right.
There's about 6 ways to get them on TV, Brian. There's all these little tricks, but you have to see them every single week.
Yeah, they have to be represented.
Yeah.
Look, what was your the original thing was about Claudio. Look, he landed exactly where he is going to be most appreciated, I think. It's a pro wrestling television show that they do, and Vince does a sports entertainment television show, and that's the difference. And that's why Vince, what Vince doesn't see in Cesaro, the fans of AEW love, and the hardcore wrestling fans love, because he's one of the best professional wrestlers I've ever seen. And that's a fact.
Yeah, with that, Brian, you worked with Claudio for many years. Now it seemed like there were so many times where he was going to break that ceiling and even grab the brass ring. He was basically he became a victim of that statement in many ways. What was it about Claudio that didn't quite make it there as far as his accomplishments in the WWE? He's there were times where he almost won the championship. He went against Roman Reigns recently. This year. I mean, within the past year and a half or so, he was, in so close and many times to breaking that ceiling to reach that main event, but he never did. From your experience working with him, was there a missing link, or what was it that caused him not to get there?
No, see, Vince didn't see. He saw a great pro wrestler. And what he wanted to see was a great sports entertainer, somebody that may can cross over into Hulk Hogan, or he's looking for the next top guy. Look, I don't know if Claudio could be a top guy in WWE because it relies a lot on your promo skills and a lot of that. And while he speaks several languages, English is a good language for him, but he's not a great promo, and that's just a fact of the matter. Now, he makes up for it in every other aspect of his game, but I don't know that gets him to the top guy status in WWE. I'll tell you this much, it gets him to the top guy status in AEW, and that's exactly what everybody who really appreciates him wants to see anyway. They want him to be cut loose, and so now we're going to get to see that every Wednesday night.
Yeah, there was some talks that he was actually supposed to, if Danielson wasn't injured, he was going to debut at ROH's pay-per-view Death Before Dishonor. So do you think the Blackpool Combat Club, is a good fit for him, or do you think that they should have waited, probably fit somebody else in there and have Claudio be like world champion status for ROH?
Who's that question to?
To you, Brian.
So yeah, look, it's I love the faction. Don't get me wrong. They're gonna book themselves into a corner because it's hard to do one and get heat on one without the others being there and coming down. It just tricky. It gets tricky to protect everybody and try to not manage the egos at all. I'm just talking about the creative writing aspect of it all. So I love the four of them and Regal, the mouthpiece. I just think it's going to be tricky down the road because there's such great single acts. And how do you have a faction if they're all just single acts and you don't see the faction interact a lot? You know what I mean? So we'll see how they handle it. They may handle it better than I would, and that kudos to them if they do.
Anybody have any thoughts on Yuta being a part of the faction? Do you think that
I don't like it?
Well? You don't like it? Why not? Why not?
I think it's because I don't know him, and I'm just being honest about that. Which one of us is not like the other? You know what I'm saying? And that's him. No offense to the guy. I don't know him, and I'd probably love the guy. However, like I said, which one of us does not belong? You know what I mean? And one of them looks like they don't fit.
Are you familiar at all with Yuta?
I am not.
Vince, are you?
No, not at all. No.
Yeah. I can see that, Brian. So if someone says, okay, well, Brian, they're using Wheeler Yuta in that group to elevate him. I totally get that, but is he the guy that you're strapping the rocket to? Because if there's a different guy, you put him in that group to elevate him. You know what I'm saying? You're elevating this guy to the mid card. This is an opportunity to elevate somebody to the main event. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you there.
Yeah, so if you got a talent that you want to utilize in that spot, and maybe that's him. Maybe he's the guy, and I don't know that yet. Yeah,
I think that's a good point, Brian, because essentially you have Cesaro, who's like the big shiny news about the Combat Club. So that pushes Yuta aside.
Yeah,
and then you had Moxley winning the interim world championship, and that further pushes him aside. So it's not really elevating him. There's more stories and more weeks that's pushing him further away from
yeah. Well, look, injuries and stuff like that, championship runs may be a blessing booking wise for this group.
Yeah.
Well, bro, it's hard enough, man, and Brian can tell you this too, Chris. Bro, it's hard enough to get two guys in a tag team over. There's always the one guy that out. It's hard enough, bro. You put 4 guys together, bro. You ain't getting them all over individually. When we did the Nation, bro, that was specifically for Rock. The Nation was to get one guy over. We knew that going in. But if you're taking 4 guys and putting them together and think you're going to get them all over, Brian, like, really, what are the odds to that?
Yeah, they're slim to none. Especially if the kid can't cut a promo and he doesn't look great. You know what I mean? Like, I'm one to talk, but he doesn't look like the others. You know what I mean? I've seen him work. He can work. I'm not taking anything away from his work rate or his workability. I just don't know him yet.
Yeah, and to your point, Vince, you know, the Nation, the goal was Rock, but the stories and the character development was so good that everybody got a piece of the pie. You know,
everybody got over in their own right, but we went in knowing, bro, you're not going to come out of this with 4 main eventers. It's impossible, bro. It's just impossible.
But you will get a European champion, and
right,
you know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
Hey, Mark Henry became a future world champion. D'Lo, you know, Intercontinental champion, most likely a Hall of Famer. You know, down the pike. Ron Simmons was Hall of Famer.
Great.
You know? So it all worked out. And I think, to your point, Vince, it's not about getting, you know, people over to become world champion status, but at least get them over to have an established character. I think with Wheeler Yuta, he doesn't even have D'Lo status. You know, D'Lo was a character of its own. Even if the goal was for The Rock, again, he took a piece of the pie and was like, okay, let me put my chest protector on and let me get a little bit of this too.
But hey, he did that. You know what I mean? He made himself stand aside and stand out. And so this kid's got to do that too.
Correct.
And I don't know if he's got the wherewithal or if he's funny or if he's friendly or if he's like something. I don't know who he is. You know what I mean?
Bro, I'm hitting Road Dogg with a huge timeout here, bro. I
don't know. I got Joey available.
I still keep in touch with D'Lo to this day. D'Lo and I love each other very, very much. Okay, but bro, Brian, I am sorry. I say to this day, bro, almost 25 years after the fact, nobody got D'Lo more over than you coming out and doing D'Lo better than he did D'Lo. Bro, you did D'Lo better than he did D'Lo. And, bro, when you did that imitation, bro, that skyrocketed D'Lo. I'm sorry, bro. I've been saying that for 20 years, bro.
We just did on the Oh You Didn't Know podcast, starring Road Dogg Jesse. We just did the episode where we talked about our feud, the DX and the Nation feud. You know, that it didn't last that long, 2 or 3 months or whatever, but we did everything. We beat the crap out of each other, and we watched it all, and it was incredible to go back and watch that and to realize, man, look at all the people that came out of that, and look at where this went. You know, and so that was cool.
But you coming down and doing the D'Lo, bro, like, come on. Tremendous.
And to me, I mean, like, yes, there was not everybody from each faction were world champions, but everybody from each faction became well established, though. And
they were TV stars.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Was a TV
we were on TV every week. In a couple of segments. You know what I mean,
man? Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. I seen Yuta once. You know what I'm saying? I want to keep it on the current product. But in relation to the old, like, I don't see the kid. I don't know. I've never heard him speak. I don't know.
Yeah. Good point.